That's my reaction for this freaking movie. This was one of the most epic films I've seen in the theater in a long, long freaking time. Oh my god, this movie was freaking awesome. I'm glad I got to see this in the theater. I got to see the matinee showing. It was packed because it was raining all day. And holy crap, I'm going to call this Captain America Civil War The Nerd Awakens. Because guess what? It did more for me than that movie did. Yeah, I'm going to be bold enough to say that. This movie was better than Star Wars Episode 7 The Force Awakens. Yes, I have the balls to say that. Why? It was epic in every turn. And guess what? This is the only thing I'm going to mention. Nobody dies in this movie when it comes to the main cast. So that's the only thing I'm going to say. I'm not This will be spoiler free, so I'm not going to mention any of the highlights of the film because you got to go see the film. Go see this freaking movie because it is epic sauce on a stick. Parker must be loving this movie because Spider-Man in this movie steals the entire freaking movie once he shows up. As soon as I saw Queens, New York, which I'm not a fan of Queens, but as soon as they showed Tom Holland, he nailed it. He nailed the accent. He nailed the freaking character. He nailed the humor. He did more in 10 minutes than Hobo with a Stick did in that movie. And, the guy was freaking awesome. Everything he said in the movie was just spot on. I'm not going to spoil anything. After he takes Cap's shield, just see the movie for yourself. It's worth it. The film, I believe in the hype. This is exactly why I go to the theater to see freaking kick-ass movies like this. Seeing an Avengers like movie, just the Thor and the Hulk are not in it, but they do mention them, so that's one thing I'll say. The film, the action is mind blowing. I had two problems with this movie though. That's I'm gonna say in my spoiler podcast with my friends. Some of the editing in the beginning sucked. Like when they're in their first mission in the beginning of the film, it's too much shaky cam and a lot of edits. It's kind of like dodgy. I'm like, Russo brothers don't shake the camera when people are running because it's not realistic. It's annoying, and then I can't see what's going on. And that was a problem with the first Hunger Games movie. But there's that, and then the villains. I thought the villains were kind of underused in the film. Baron Zemo is not in the film that much, and Crossbones is in the beginning, and then you don't see him again. So that's all I'm going to say. Uh, but the heroes in the movie are freaking not serviceable. They're freaking epic. Tony Stark, once again, I love Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. just plays this character. He is this character. You cannot replace this guy. Chris Evans is Cap. He is freaking awesome. He captures the seriousness of the character. He's not jokey in this one. He is freaking awesome. He is the star of this movie, in the beginning of the film. But once Spider-Man shows up, yeah, it's like it's his show. Everybody else, the Winter Soldier, freaking Falcon and Hawkeye and Vision and Black Widow and Scarlet Witch. It's a freaking smorgasbord of freaking superheroes. Black Panther, freaking done. He was awesome. What a badass, Chadwick Boseman. I applaud you, sir. You freaking you nailed the accent of T'Challa. He had intensity in his eyes. The fight scenes with the Winter Soldier were mind blowing. The scene, well, you see it in the trailer where he was running, epic. That scene kicks the crap out of the Dark Knight. I'm going to say that right now. That scene is better, and I'm not going to say what happens because you got to see it for yourself. But Black Panther kicked ass in the movie. His claws, the way he looked, the accent, the actor, just everything worked for it. The film's long, but it doesn't feel long at all. It's a very, very excellent freaking paced movie. When there's talking, it's interesting. There are a couple of like flashbacks, in the film. I don't care for the subtitles because I have to read subtitles in a lot of these movies, but it's all because it's German or whatever, and people don't understand foreign languages. I know, and I don't give a shit. But anyway, that didn't hurt the film for me because a lot of Marvel films have had subtitles. The first Avengers movie, and the first Cap movie, and the second Cap movie, but this is one of the best Marvel sequels they've done, especially a third installment. At least this wasn't X-Men: The Last Stand, where they kill off characters just because for shock value, or they screwed up a storyline. Here they did it well, and it's so freaking good. I literally jizzed my pants when I first saw Spider-Man. I was like, oh my god, Welcome home, Spidey. Welcome home. Back in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where you belong. Sony's not going to screw you like they did with Garfield. When I first saw Tom Holland, I was like, yep, I already don't miss Garfield at all. He is just the best Spider Man we've had since Tobey Maguire. And it reminded me why I love this character. The scenes with him and Tony Stark are great. I'm not going to spoil it because there's just too much in the movie to spoil, and I don't want to ruin it for anybody. But let me just say this: the fight between Iron Man and Cap at the end is epic. It's personal. It's a fight that went on for a while. It's a fight that builds up. It's not like they just do it in the like. It's not a small part of the movie and then it disappears. No, it's personal. It's very personal. And Bucky being there is personal, and you'll see why. But that'll be for a spoiler podcast. But I love this movie. This is in my top 5 of the year. Deadpool's still better because it's got the R rating and it's got the curse words and it's got the blood and it's got the violence. And Reynolds on his own just steals the show. But this is freaking awesome. I could not tell you how excited I was for this. The crowd was very into it. They clapped and cheered a lot of the times, the more than in The Force Awakens. This was the nerd awakens. The nerd inside of me just exploded. I hadn't felt like that since I saw the first Avengers in the theater. And while it didn't top that, because, that was just mind blowing, and the ending of that is definitely more epic with the Chitauri and Loki, and that movie has a better villain. This didn't. It just had some side villains that were kind of there, nothing really that special. But this movie kicks ass. See this in the theater. I'm begging you. And oh, you're a blind Marvel fanboy. Hey, I support Marvel because nobody does it better. DC tried this year, and while I don't hate Batman vs Superman, this is way better. This is how you do it. This is how you put so many characters into one movie and don't pander to just the comic book readers, but you pander to the mainstream audience and you give them what they want. And this did it in freaking spades. The acting's great. The writing is top notch. It's well directed for the most part, except for the beginning where the editing is kind of shaky, and I'm really getting tired of that. Russo, stop shaking the camera, please. I don't want to see shaky cam all the time. Just action movies back in the day didn't need that. Also, you had a freaking, the second half is amazing. The fights between Cap's team and Iron Man's team, some of the greatest imagery I've seen this year. And just the surprises in it, I'm not going to say anything. Just go see the film. You will not regret it. It's got great humor, and the plot is great. It's not like all over the place, and there's a lot in it, and it works. And this movie is one of the best things I saw this year in the theater. Great theatrical experience. I got to see it for $7. Well worth that price. I would have paid 14 because it's that freaking good, and I want to see this movie again. It blew my mind. And haters, suck it. You cannot bring down my joy of this film because it is great. It took everything. This could have been a catastrophe, and it wasn't. And it took everything that I loved about the Avengers movies and the first 2 Captain America movies and Iron Man films and everything, lumped it into a big bowl of freaking awesome. And everything worked. Obviously, the film's going to make a ton this weekend. It deserves it. My friends are will vouch for me. This is kick ass. Don't see this in a bootleg on your computer. Watch it in the theater or wait for Blu-ray and then see it then. Do not support piracy because I won't do that. I want to see things in the theater where they belong, especially films like this, because I want to support Marvel. They have not let me down. In 8 years, since 2008, when I saw Iron Man, I love that movie. I love this movie, and they have been knocking it out of the park every time. And just, with these movies, I don't count X-Men Origins Wolverine or the Amazing Spider-Man films or Fantastic. Not those. I'm saying they're cinema MCU films. They've delivered, and they're going to deliver more next year. I can't wait for Black Panther. I can't wait for Spider-Man Homecoming and Guardians 2. It's going to be freaking awesome. I can't wait. This is what it's all about, man. Love this movie. 2 thumbs up. It's a freaking great sequel, and I'm glad they ended it this way. It could have been a lot worse, and stay tuned for a spoiler podcast with my friends. I'm gonna just go. I'm gonna just go crazy on this podcast. I'm gonna just be like, oh, remember that scene and that scene and that scene? Yeah, awesome, kick-ass movie. I'm glad I saw it in the theater. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. Comment on this video. tell me your thoughts on the film, what you liked and what you didn't like. I already mentioned my stuff that I didn't spoil because I'm not a spoiler troll. I want people to enjoy the films for what it's worth. And anyway, thanks for watching, and I can't wait for more.